Random thoughts. In this video, I'm going to talk about the land of the Gikuyu and how the British found it to be so attractive. I know I did a video about the Gikuyu people being the most unfriendly people in Africa. At least that's what Sir Charles Elliott writes. And Sir Charles Elliott is this British officer who came to Kenya. He was an ambassador, I think. He was a diplomat, and then he came. And then he was appointed to become the Commissioner of British East Africa, and he served in this office between 1902 and 1904. And then he resigned because there were some issues about some grants, I think. And then he published this book in 1905. The book is titled The East Africa Protectorate. It's a book that is a very detailed and comprehensive document that describes the country that came to be known as Kenya later on. It talks about the people, the geography, the climate, and everything actually, and the potential of the protectorate to be a good settlement or place for British people. Now, as I've said, I said in another video that the Kikuyu were considered by at least Sir Charles Elliott to be the most unfriendly people. Now, but then he describes, and I know some people have left comments in that video, in the comment section of that video, saying that the reason why the Europeans thought that the Kikuyu were very unfriendly is because they wanted the land of the Kikuyu, which is actually true. And we have some text in the book that is written by Sir Charles Elliott to support that actually. They considered the land that was occupied by the Kikuyu to be a very beautiful, fertile land. And this is what Sir Charles Elliott writes about that. He says, in mentioning these rivers, we already arrived at the Kikuyu Hills, one of the most beautiful, fertile, and economically important parts of the protectorate. They consist of the number of undulating ranges stretching up to Mount Kenya on the north and terminating in the south at the hawk-backed mountain called Ngong Bagas. Now, Ngong Bagas is in Ngong, I guess. On the west, they are bounded by the clear-cut and precipitous descent into the Rift Valley, but the eastern side, the ascent is gentle and not very considerable for the railway mounts only about 2,000 feet in 24 miles. Yeah, so he does consider the land that was occupied by the Kikuyu, at least some part of that land, to be, as he says, beautiful and fertile and economically very important. And maybe that or those sentiments did inform the policy of the British when they started settling on the land to try to find a way of moving out the Kikuyu from that land. And maybe we can talk of Limuru and very many parts of Kiambu, where they moved out the people and settled Europeans there to do coffee and tea farming. Those are my random thoughts.